What is going down, everybody? Coach DT with Dynamic Training, back at it again with another video. Okay, in today's video, we are going to talk about the 3 biggest myths told to soccer players. Don't make these mistakes. All right, this first myth is by far the biggest, most widespread myth to all soccer players. Okay, and the myth is that the weight room slows you down. If you talk to 10 soccer players, 9 out of 10 are going to tell you that they believe that the weight room, pumping iron, getting stronger is going to slow them down on the field and make them a worse soccer player. And this could be no more farther than the truth, okay? For those of us that know how to produce faster athletes, speed is correlated with power. If you don't have power, you're not gonna have speed. But coach, won't it make me too bulky? Won't it make me look like a bodybuilder? Won't it make me really stiff? Or won't it make my feet slower if I constantly am in the weight room and if I'm constantly working out and trying to get bigger? The answer is no. And I know the reason that you feel this way or that people feel this way is from experience, right? They see that person, that soccer player that says, you know what, I need to get bigger, I need to get stronger. And then they go and they work out in a program and then they get stiffer, they get slower, they get bulky, okay? That is not the weight room's fault. That is the programming's fault. That is whoever is working with that person or that athlete, it is their fault, okay? Your body will adapt and produce what you put it through. What I mean by that is if you train like a bodybuilder, if you isolate your movements, do slow under control movements, you are going to then look like a bodybuilder. Makes sense, right? But if you go into the weight room with that mindset, with the training program, with the structure to train like an athlete, to have high functional movements, explosive movements, you are gonna become a bigger, better, faster, stronger athlete, okay? So how you train dictates how the outcome is. I promise you, these athletes that people admire and look up to, Mr. Ronaldo, right? These freak of nature professional soccer players, I promise you, they have a weight room program schedule. They have a training program that maximizes them as an athlete, that pushes them and makes them a better athlete, okay? Because like we talked about, you have to have power in order to have speed, okay? You don't have to have big biceps or big triceps to be faster, even though sometimes it looks nice coming out of that jersey, right? But my point is, don't shy away from the weight room. Just make sure that you're in the right training program or right training structure, or you're working with the right people that know how to make you a better athlete. The weight room is not the problem. So stop blaming the weights and start blaming the training. Now, myth number 2, I have a lot of experience with this one on a personal level as well, because I do work with and train a lot of soccer players. And the myth is that skill work and skills training will make you a faster athlete. Once again, this is incorrect. And I'm not saying skills training is bad, okay? That's not my point here. My point is that how quick your touches are with the ball and how well you control the ball will not make you a faster, more explosive athlete, okay? It will make you a good soccer player and it will make you a better soccer player if you need to improve in that area. So I'm not saying skills training is bad. I need to make that clear here, okay? But my point is, a lot of people will say, oh, my kid or my athlete, or I don't need to do speed and agility training because my skills coach does that with me. Because you see on a lot of these Instagram, YouTube skills coaches, they'll do a quick footwork drill and then they boom, boom, we'll hit some touches, pass, move, and then come back. And it's very important to have those skills. But you have to remember, we are training the athlete. We are not training the player. As a speed and agility coach, my goal is to make you the most explosive, fastest athlete that you can be without the ball, okay? That's my focus, because guess what? At the end of the day, if you're not putting in the work to improve at your craft, to be a better soccer player, skills training, shooting, passing, defending, then this is a completely irrelevant conversation. This is not instead of skills training, this is additional to skills training. You have to be a good athlete. I think all of us know that soccer player that we're like, oh yeah, they have great footwork, they have good ball skills, but they just don't cut it, right? Because guess what? They're not fast enough, they're not strong enough, they're not agile enough to stay in front of people, but they have good skills training. 2 completely separate things, and a huge myth that a lot of parents and a lot of athletes forget about or think to be true. At the end of the day, the soccer players that make it are the ones that are not only skilled, but are phenomenal athletes. This third myth is kind of a weird one. You may have heard it before or possibly not, because it's not nearly as widespread or as common as the other two. But that is that plyometric training is no good for soccer athletes. The biggest rebuttals that I hear or reasons that people don't want to do it is they say, it's not necessary for me. Plyometrics aren't necessary for me as a soccer player. It's really bad for your knees and bad for your joints. I can't do plyometric training until I have a strong enough back squat, which doesn't make any sense to me. And then they will turn and say, well, if I want to get faster, we're just going to do sprints all day long. We're going to do short sprints, we're going to do medium sprints, we're going to do long sprints, and I'm going to get faster by just doing sprints. And that is just completely mind-blowing and incorrect. Plyometrics is huge for soccer players. Plyometrics and jump training will help soccer athletes in a couple different ways. Number one, the biggest is that it makes you more explosive. So it's going to help with that first step quickness. It's going to help with that acceleration phase that so many soccer players struggle with. It's probably the number one thing when a soccer player comes to our facility and says, hey, I'm here, and I say, what do you need to work on the most? It's their ability to burst, their ability to accelerate and have that quick first step. So plyometric training is going to help benefit that. It's even going to help with striking the ball and just developing power. So don't shy away from plyometric training. Make sure you have good form. Make sure you're doing it right. Make sure that you have a good training program. But plyometric training is huge for development. So start from the feet. Start with something like pogo jumps. Work your way all the way up. I am a huge fan of plyometric training. It's in almost every single one of my workouts that I program for my athletes. So I just need you to know, stick with plyometric training, do it, don't listen to people. Look at these pictures of Ronaldo doing headers. I know I mention him a lot, but he's just the GOAT in my opinion. There's pictures of him that look like they're completely altered. He's floating above people and you're like, what is happening? And then he still gets the goal with a header. Like, it's insane. But I promise you, he does a lot of plyometric training. It has been a pleasure. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Hopefully we were able to chop up some of those myths and misconceptions for soccer players. If you know of anybody who is in your ear telling you, hey man, don't weight train, it's gonna make you slow, or don't worry about speed and agility, we do skills training, or plyometrics is bad for you, share this video with them. All right, give yourself a little bit of oomph. Tell them get off your back, because Coach DT is here to help you become the greatest and the best that you can be. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.